When we hear the word annuity, many times we are trying to provide the education on the different types of annuities prior to, because I think there's some confusion around the different types of annuities, understanding that sometimes people are tickled pink, very satisfied with the safety, the guaranteed rate, all of the features of an annuity, while there's other times, hey, didn't I hear something negative about an annuity? So again, we most of the time are just trying to provide the education about the different types prior to diving into that, just to eliminate the confusion. A fixed annuity is very simple. It's like plain vanilla. You have a certain interest rate that cannot go up, it cannot go down. It doesn't matter what happens in the market, no matter what happens in the world. I know what my annual statement is going to say each and every year. With compounding interest, here's my guaranteed interest rate offered through this company, and they're offering this black and white contract that cannot be altered. For that period of time, I know exactly what my return is going to be. That would be the best description or best description of an annuity. Fixed annuities are designed to solve the issue of safety. Many times while we're working, we're not really looking at taking money out of our retirement accounts, that as soon as we're ready to retire, safety becomes highest priority, and we don't want to risk that money anymore. We don't want to have a game plan, have a projection, and then the roller coaster takes a serious dip, and now I can't work with the number that I used to have. And so it solves the issue of a possible downturn to the retirement accounts. I don't want to lose money in retirement. I've worked too hard to get here. How can I secure that and make sure that I cannot lose anymore? The fixed annuities are the plain vanilla, straightforward, uh, no moving parts. Just here's my guaranteed interest rate for this period of time. And a lot of people love that. At the same time, there are great features built into a fixed indexed annuity in which you just have some different options on how you can earn interest. And that option can change each year, meaning you may say, hey, right now, I really like what's happening in the S&P 500, and I would love to follow the S&P 500 and earn interest based on the performance of the S&P 500. While the next year you may say, hey, it feels like the next 12 months might not be real promising with the S&P 500, and I would like to choose a different allocation. And so there's just flexibility. It can become muddy if you allow it to, but I love to just boil it down and say, out of all of these options, here would be the best two recommendations in today's world, and let you just decide between those two. But just more flexibility on how I can earn interest inside of a fixed indexed annuity. Many times there can be an overlap on who is a good candidate for a fixed annuity versus a fixed indexed annuity. It really comes down to more of a personal preference. I just love to explain the difference between the two. And I don't know if it's a 50-50 blend, but it feels like half the time people will just gravitate towards the fixed. Half the time people will gravitate to the fixed indexed annuities. But again, I love to just be more of an educator. I mean, technically, my title would be sales. I don't look at myself as a salesperson. I just look at myself as an educator. The more I can educate, the more I can inform, the easier it is for the consumer just to make that decision. And that's where I get a lot of passion comes from that. Fixed annuities can help with income in the regard that I have a chunk of change sitting here that I know I can count on and guarantee this interest rate, which is going to give me this return. And I need so much every month or once a year for income. And so I can have a safe place to park money knowing I have no fees, I have no risk, and I can live on that. And many times, not all the time, many times we can live on the interest that it's earning and not even have to get into the principal. Fixed annuities or fixed index annuities can fit into an overall retirement plan, saying there's three buckets of money. This bucket of money, I need it to be the safest, in the safest place, earning the maximum interest. And I also want to still be able to pull out of it. That would be a great solution for majority of the money that I'm not really using on a day to day. And I'm not really planning to take large chunks out to go buy a new car or what have you. These other two buckets are designed to take care of those more immediate needs. There are so many real life examples that I can share where a person says, I've got this money sitting at a bank earning this interest rate. I love the safety of the bank, the CDs, the money markets, but their interest rates, while they're competitive, they're just not good enough. And so we're able to move money from those CDs or those money markets into a much better interest rate. That's one example. Another example would be, hey, I'm watching my brokerage account rise really, really well and fall really, really quickly. And I am in retirement. I'm just not wanting to worry about my money. I'm wanting safety as my number one priority. I know I can get rich. I can know I can do really well, but I also know I can lose half of my rear overnight. And so in both of those scenarios, whether money's sitting in the bank or money's in the market, it's always a better scenario to say safety is the highest priority, nearing retirement or in retirement. And now I want to get the most interest I can with 100% safety. There definitely are some times where an annuity does not, it's not a one size fits all, that it doesn't work. And so when we learn when do we plan to use this money and how much do we plan to use at that time, we can determine, hey, this is not a good fit for you. Hey, I know your friend, family member, or neighbor has a product from us, and they love it. They're happy, and they send you in, and you're hoping to do the same. But if you have a situation where you say, hey, I've set this money aside, and I know that in 2 years, I'm ready to buy a new vehicle. I know in 3 years, we're ready to move to Florida and we're going to utilize this money. Many times, those annuities are geared more towards the longer haul and taking smaller increments, taking distributions out in smaller increments. And so it's, again, not always a perfect scenario for someone. Built into these annuities, they're going to be penalty-free withdrawals. That just means you get to take money out of your plan without having to pay any penalties, any surrender charges. It's wonderful. But there's certain amounts that you can take each and every year. And again, that's where we match a plan that says this one's going to give you and meet the goals that you're hoping to accomplish. And while if we exceed that amount, we can run into some penalties. And I take it upon myself to make sure that we are getting all of our ducks in a row to where we're never having to face any penalties. The biggest difference between stocks, bonds, mutual funds, along with CDs, the biggest differences are going to be safety, guaranteed interest, and the most competitive interest offering. So in the banks, we may be able to get some safety, but we're not getting a really competitive interest rate. Whereas in the market, we can do really, really well, but we don't have safety. It's extremely volatile, especially in today's age. The reality of it dropping and dropping quickly is a reality. And so we love that safety. We love that guaranteed interest. We love not having to deal with fees. You can get your ducks in a row by allowing us to walk you through a needs assessment, understanding your need, putting out the highlight of the roadmap of the timeline of what you need to be doing and when. And we help you get your ducks in a row so that you can retire with confidence, knowing that I've turned over every stone and I'm not going to have any surprises in retirement.